YouTube, how's it going? Good evening, HeirofCarthage here, and let's take a look at some more Rome 2 online action that I have for you. This time it's going to be me playing as Rome, and my opponent Benny Penny playing as Galatia. And whenever I first saw this matchup, I was like, Galatia, this is going to be easy. I had a little bit of patch 8 syndrome going on in my head, I think, which is that Rome trounced people fairly easy. And So I brought an interesting army here, at least I thought it was interesting. I put some Syrian archers in here just for me to give them a shot, knowing full well that I could come up against some Celtic slingers and that this could be an issue. So for that reason, I brought a couple of auxiliary Balearic slingers as well. So I've kind of varied up my skirmishing. These auxiliary Syrian archers have heavy shot and can be very effective against armor. And these auxiliary Balearic slingers will hopefully be able to beat down any Celtic slingers. As far as cav, I've got 2 shot cav, 2 Sacia Equites Extraordinari, and then I have 2 Sacia Equites to back them up. The Sacia Equites have pretty good stats for the price. They don't have the Draco ability though, so that's one of the main things to note about them. And the Sacia Equites Extraordinari are the cheapest shot cav in the game now, I think, other than Sarissa cav, which is kind of more of a light cav unit. Maybe the same price as a Thessalian cav though too, I don't remember. So having cheap shop cav is actually kind of an interesting advantage. So the Galatian player does something here that I highly disagree with as far as strategy goes. He has these noble horse out here, and he is going to allow me to engage them head on with my shot cav. Now when he saw me engage this trample charge, that was a little early. He should have just pulled away and run, and I would have wasted my trample. But I get a pretty clean trample charge with this Equite, and then get a nice surround maneuver on his general. So his general is completely surrounded. These noble horse will win this fight against my Sacia Equite, but I'll get to kill a few of these noble horse along the way. His general, however, is in big trouble. It's outnumbered, but it is a very strong unit, and it's going to hold out. My opponent decides to rush forward. It's a bit dangerous for me because he's using Celtic skirmishers, and my skirmishers haven't had time to shoot him down yet. I moved up my archers and hoping to have a fight, but it actually ended up being a bad deal when he rushed his skirmishers forward. Now my archers are precariously vulnerable. But you can see here, it takes slingers a while to kill Celtic skirmishers, but Syrian archers with heavy shot basically took him out in one volley. But then again, his javelins are taking me out quick too, and he's getting a better exchange for the money on that. So he's going to force me back here. He's charging me with Galatian Legionnaires, which I've forgotten post-patch 9 are actually quite strong. They have a great charge bonus and a good bonus versus infantry. So I countercharge my Legionnaires thinking everything's going to be fine. And I even have some Gladiator Spearmen over here for outflanking. I didn't get a good charge here though, so this unit's probably going to get destroyed. And his Celtic skirmishers are continuing to fire at my men, which is a huge disadvantage to me because javelins are effective even over the backs of your own men typically. Bring up my Legatus to support a little here. And look at this Legionnaire, it already routed before my Gladiator Spears could even get to him. But now my Gladiator Spears are going to start eating javelins in the back. And all of a sudden, I'm not looking so good in this battle. These Celtic skirmishers have just ripped me a new one. And over here, my cav ended up getting beat down pretty bad because he brought in infantry to support. But I got a Gladiator Spearman in here that didn't get charged at all. And these guys have pretty solid attack, and they're going to start getting a bunch of kills. Now, my opponent met with initial success on this flank punching through, but now my skirmishers are in position and unloading on his men, and it's starting to drop their morale. His Celtic skirmishers are now starting to run out of ammo, and over here was where I had my Evocati cohort, and they didn't break so easy versus these Galatian Legionnaires. You can see the stats in the Evocati cohort is very good. So over here, my Evocati cohort holds, and here in the center, another Evocati cohort and a Legionnaire managed to survive. And then now my skirmishers can start to repay some of the damage to these Celts. So that's the thing with skirmishers. They have a fantastic attack, but they run out of ammo quick. And at this point my general is able to start running these guys down. And my opponent's cav has been tied up over here for a long time, unable to support. Here he brings in all of his melee cav. So I reposition my Roman Legionnaires, and they should be braced. And they do manage to pretty much stop that charge. And that's a lot of heavy cav there. They're not going to die quickly, and so seeing that his guys aren't going to make a whole lot of headway, my opponent here is going to go ahead and draw back and then cycle in for another charge. That does have me worried. He's not going for my skirmishers right now, which I think is a huge mistake. He's trying to go for my infantry, but I think it's at this point when I realize how vulnerable my skirmishers were, so I start pulling them back in towards the protection of my infantry. And you can see that indeed he does decide to start running over here and try and come over and assault my infantry, or my skirmishers. Not good. So you can see what I'm going to do is try and bait and switch here. So I'm going to start maneuvering this unit around here and maneuvering this unit in. All I got to do is just stop the charge of this noble cav, which I pretty much failed to do, but I tried. And now my skirmishers can start firing at the noble cav, which is his general, and killing it's going to be huge. So look, he just now killed my gladiator spearmen. They had 107 kills from that unit against his men, so that unit held forever out there and did fantastic. And these legionnaires are now forming a wall to hold off his cav charges. Now what my opponent should do here is take his cav, split around my flanks, engage me from the front with the spears, and then hit me from behind, and he could potentially win. Maybe not though, because these are just Galatian spears, and my legionnaires would cut them down pretty quickly. My opponent's in a tough position. He won one flank very quickly, but his other flank got tied up with too many units for too long. If he wouldn't have tied so many units into this flank over here, he would have had more to assist, and probably could have beat my Evocati cohort that ended up holding him off. So I really thought my opponent did a good job here, and his army was really superior to mine in many ways, and I underestimated it greatly. But yeah, look at my skirmishers paying these guys back now. Oh, man, that was a good javelin throw right there. That Evocati cohort got whipped on. I got a legionnaire, and then one more Evocati cohort there, and another legionnaire out there. So he goes ahead and charges in everything from the front. Again, those calves should have come from behind, but they did not. And over here, he's got a cav coming in. I'm just going to try and slow it down with my general and let my skirmishers open fire. And again, you can see these archers really aren't bad. It's just that you can't bring them in a situation where they're going to get killed by slingers. So a lot of people think archers are worthless in this game. I beg to differ. They're quite worthwhile, actually, if you can not get them killed by slingers. And there's ways to avoid slingers, and I'll talk more about that hopefully in future videos. But this was a close one. That Galatian army there gave me a run for my money. So there's a couple of things that happened here. I really wish I would have brought more Evocati cohort, number one. Those guys are reliable, but the problem is they're expensive. Very expensive. Or maybe I could have brought a main line of cheaper legionnaires and then gotten a couple extra units of gladiators to try and back them up. There's a number of things I could have tried. One way or the other, it worked out the way it did. It was a close battle. One of my Syrian archers got some decent kills. The other one's not so much. They just didn't get a lot of time to fire because I got rushed. Look at this Balearic Slinger, though, man. These guys cleaned house. Slingers seem to do well. Evocati cohort pays dividends. Look, all of them over 100 kills, whereas my Legionnaires just got raffle stomped. And then this one Gladiator Spearman that was out in that fight with all his cav and spearmen also did very well. And you can see here that the expensive Noble Cav, it can pay off. He got a lot of kills with it. These Skirmishers got a lot of kills against expensive units, which means that they were almost cost-effective there. And if you look at his Legionnaires, these were the guys here that were probably matched up against my regular Roman Legionnaires, and they destroyed them. Whereas these guys with the lesser kills were probably the ones matched up against my Evocati cohort, and they couldn't manage to cut through. So, interesting matchup. Hope you all enjoyed that. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.